Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Samantha Christiane, and today I want to talk about rewriting your money story. Storytellers and writers have a unique ability to craft narratives that resonate deeply with themselves as well as their audiences. However, this talent can sometimes become their greatest downfall, especially when it comes to their relationship with money and the stories they've internalized about it. Growing up, money was a constant source of conflict in my household. Mismanagement and fear around money were some of the many unnecessary factors that tore my own family apart, leaving me to fend for myself at the age of 15. Then I entered the foster care system, and my financial instability became a significant source of stress and conflict, just as it was for many of my peers at that time in the foster care system. I began to view money as a source of constant tension, leading to mistrust and loss everywhere I turned. I didn't know how to manage the monthly allowance from the government and was constantly overwhelmed by the costs of supporting myself as a teenager. This situation led to deep feelings of unworthiness, guilt, and shame when it came to money. I felt like I was a burden to society. And these negative thoughts manifested into crippling anxiety where I would break down at the thought of spending money, checking my bank account, or worst of all, asking for financial assistance. My self worth became intertwined with my lack of resources. I had no financial literacy to support the extreme responsibility I had taken on in managing my own life. I avoided conversations about money and suffered panic attacks after handling even the simplest transactions at the bank. Stubbornly, I believed I had to figure everything out on my own instead of seeking advice from those with more knowledge. I even ended a date early with an accountant because I was terrified he would discover just how poor I really was. Rich people intimidated me, and I put myself below them, convinced they had access to a secret I would never be able to unlock myself. These negative associations led to me avoiding planning for any kind of future altogether. Isolated with the finances, I made costly mistakes and even repeated the financial missteps my parents had made. I continued the vicious cycle of resenting wealthy people, feeling sorry for myself, making irrational investments, and spiraling out of control. I had internalized the negative narratives surrounding wealth from both my parents as well as the unstable foster care system. I over identified with what I had been exposed to and started to believe that it defined who I was and what I was capable of achieving. As a writer, I had always been consistent in crafting narratives for my characters, but it took me years to realize I had created a nightmare narrative for myself regarding the subject of money. Things didn't turn around until I recognized that I was using my greatest strength, storytelling, against myself. I was using my subconscious, my supercomputer, to write myself into a corner regarding my potential for earning. And while I'm still climbing out of that corner, the difference now is that I see it as an intriguing journey, a game I can win as a writer, and so can you. It's time to prove just how great of a writer you really are by rewriting your own story with money. Create the most amazing love story or adventure you can imagine with it, changing both genres as well as tax bracket. It all begins in your mind. I know some people cringe at the word manifest, and I used to as well. But after enough life experience, you realize you're manifesting an outcome using your subconscious, whether you like it or not. So, why not put some intention behind the outcome you truly desire? When you develop a roadmap out of debt, every credit card you clear feels like completing another writing project. You are taking the necessary actions to change your circumstances. Money itself has no emotion. You don't need to project onto it. You just need to use it like a tool, like the pen you use to communicate with the world, who you are, and where you actually like to invest your time. It's funny how storytellers slash writers can be too good at what they do. So good that they can't even differentiate when they're writing negative narratives for themselves. Society's stereotypes don't help either. Instead of romanticizing the idea of earning and building our own enterprises, many sectors encourage us to embrace the starving artist or the tortured genius who sacrifices financial stability for the sake of art. But let me tell you, starving is no fun. There is no glory in it. Eating on a budget is one thing, but not meeting your basic needs to function is a major detriment to you as a creator. When all your energy goes toward thinking and operating out of lack, you end up in a cycle of not having enough money or time to do your actual work. We don't need more artists starving for their art. We need artists who are expanding outward, creating influence, and contributing meaningfully. It's hard to contribute if all your energy is focused on just getting by. There's no avoiding the business side of writing. There just isn't. And there should be no shame in desiring to make a living from what you were put on this earth to do. Monetization will only taint your art if you let it. Ultimately, it's your responsibility to keep doing the work you set out to do in the first place. Do not blame money for tainting your work. You need exposure to people who actually like money and don't fall into despair when discussing it. There are people out there who will talk about money like it's the most amazing game in life that you're missing out on. And I never personally thought that I would be able to talk about my debts in public. I used to avoid looking at the numbers and just try to scramble and pay my minimum each month on my credit cards. But when the world shut down during the pandemic, I had no choice but to confront my financial situation. I got laid off. Then one day I had a thought. What if money isn't what I thought it was? If I give money power, what is power? Power is energy. And what is energy to me on a personal level? Energy means to me that it is alive. Well, what else do I think is alive that I take the time to familiarize myself with? Ideas. Ideas are what I use to create force and push through to new outcomes. So there's money everywhere, all around you. Money cannot be created without an idea that brings value to others. So if you're a storyteller and your greatest currency is the ability to conjure up ideas, why can't you do the same with creating wealth? I feel abundant when I'm in the flow of writing, and I feel a weight lifted off my heart when I actually can convey a core idea to another human being. So if money is just a part of creating something into existence, then it isn't inherently evil, is it? Money is just a token that a player uses to move their avatar forward. A storyteller is creatively problem solving their way out of dead ends. So theoretically, writers should excel at creating wealth by providing value through their input based on the countless hours spent in front of a blank screen making something out of nothing. Money, just like ideas, are everywhere. There is no lack. If there's no lack, then I'm not missing out. I just haven't been playing the right game. And maybe you haven't either. As a creative individual, now more than ever, you owe it to yourself to fall in love with new paths, to explore new versions of yourself, and to write them out into the world. Let's stop repeating the same negative, limiting stories and cycles and start telling ones that lead to actual financial freedom without compromising fulfillment. Your financial story is yours to write. Make it one of abundance, creativity, and freedom. That's all. See you next time.